Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, you're very welcome. This is Reading the Past and I'm Dr. Cat. A few weeks ago I made a video about Hallie Rubenhold's new book, The Five, that details the lives of the women killed by Jack the Ripper. As I think I made clear in that video, which I am going to link up here, that book altered my perception of history. It changed the way that I saw this event and the people involved. And that got me to thinking, what other books have I encountered that have shifted my perception of history? So today I'm going to be giving you some of the examples of the books that changed the way I view our history. In 2007, Kim Sloan, who is the curator of British drawings from before 1880 at the British Museum, curated for publication this collection of images and text. It comes under the title A New World, England's First View of America. And I'm going to show on screen a selection of pages, the images that are contained within this book. I think it's undeniable that they are thoroughly gorgeous. As you can see here, the variety and the detail that has gone into them. In this book, Kim Sloan is showcasing the British Museum's collection of John White's watercolours from the 1585 Roanoke voyage that was organised by Sir Walter Raleigh. Also included in this collection of images are the flora, fauna, but also images of the Inuit population that were encountered by Martin Frobisher. In addition, John White depicts the ancient English Pictish people. In Kim Sloan's edition, John White's watercolours are positioned alongside the text that was inspired by them. We see them next to Theodore de Brye's engravings that sit above the text by Thomas Harriot, a brief and true report of the newfound land of Virginia. I used elements of Kim Sloan's collection in my doctoral thesis. I also used it when I was making my video on spinning Virginia, which I'm going to link up here. But why do I say that this book changed the way that I viewed history? Well, in having these beautiful watercolours and the engravings and text that sit alongside them in Kim Sloan's edition, we are given, I believe, an unparalleled eyewitness view into the new world. It's incredibly rare that we should be able to see the world in the way that our early modern counterparts did, but that is what we get here. We get to see how John White viewed the indigenous population that he encountered in the 1580s. It's also, I think, a really great choice that Kim Sloan makes to put watercolour alongside engraving and text, because we get to see the image move from what it starts as, which I see as being almost a proto-ethnography, into something that is much more propaganda. What de Brye's engraving does is it sells the new world. It, as I say in my video, spins Virginia. And in doing so, it's attempting to encourage people to go on voyages of discovery and plantation and colonisation. Without texts like this, arguably, the image that we have of the Americas would be quite different. If this volcanic anomaly in the North Atlantic had not had the images to inspire them to journey for discovery, what would North America look like now? Of course, the colonial drive is by no means covered in glory. However, it is part of our history, and I believe it is vital that we understand and sometimes confront and own up to it. What Kim Sloan does that I think is particularly special is the way that she frames this collection. In the chapters that precede watercolour and engraving, Kim Sloan and her co-authors show us the world. They show us early modern Europe and specifically early modern England and what inspired this colonial and exploratory drive. Essentially, we understand what motivates people to make the world as we now know it. In 2011, Natasha Korda's book, Labour's Lost, Women's Work and the Early Modern English Stage, is published. Natasha Korda is a professor of English at Wesleyan University. This is exceptional. This book completely altered the way that I viewed the early modern English stage. In her intricately researched book, Natasha Korda casts a light on figures that would otherwise arguably have remained in shadow. She uncovers the previously lost presence of female labour and capital, and how it formed an absolutely integral foundation for the rise of the early modern professional stage in England. I think it's best that I use a quote directly from the book to show just why I found it so groundbreaking. Natasha Korda explains, "The rise of the professional stage relied on the labour, wares, ingenuity and capital of women of all stripes." In conducting this research and in laying out her findings, Natasha Korda goes a step beyond what Phyllis Rakin explained in 2005. Rakin stated that there was no legal prohibition for women to be on the early modern English stage. What Korda shows is that while women were completely excluded from the early modern professional stage, they were not excluded from the early modern professional theatre. In her analysis, in her research, Korda lays out an economic history, a social history, a theatre history, but also women's history. It's really important, and it's put together in an incredibly clear, concise and beautiful way. I heartily recommend you pick up this book if this is the sort of thing that you're interested in. From 2012, we have Neil MacGregor's Shakespeare's Restless World. Please excuse the state of the dust jacket, although perhaps that just provides evidence as to how well loved and well used this book has been, because I want to make it absolutely clear. In this, I am not suggesting text that I haven't read and reread myself on countless occasions. These are the best of the best as far as I'm concerned. Neil MacGregor is the director of the British Museum. He is also the creator of The History of the World in 100 Objects. Every exhibition that I have ever seen that has Neil MacGregor's fingers in the pie has been spectacular. If you're near the British Museum and you find out that MacGregor has curated an exhibition, go and see it. His way of using objects to provide context and a narrative arc for a historical event is breathtaking. He is an absolute master of that particular craft of exhibition design. And it's no different in this book. In 20 Objects, he provides context for many of Shakespeare's plays. He uses the objects to anchor the plays, and then from there he expands out into the historical, social, national, political, economic and religious context that made the plays of Shakespeare what they were. The images of the objects in this book are wonderfully represented in full colour. It is a beautiful edition, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. In addition to that, the text that goes alongside it, the things that explain and knit it all together, is compellingly written. It absolutely altered the way that I viewed Shakespeare's London and his world as a whole, and in turn, what was the basis for the way he writes his plays. I'm not going to detail every object in this book because I want you to check it out for yourselves. But at the moment, my particular favourite is the way that he displays Henry V's funerary monuments, his helmet, saddle, sword and shield, things that he may well have had with him at the Battle of Agincourt. And these were displayed in Westminster Abbey. So people who were going to see Henry V at Shakespeare's Globe in 1599 may well have come from Westminster Abbey. They may have gone and stood by the tomb of Henry V, looked up and seen these funerary monuments, seen him lying in edifice, and then come to see him represented on the stage. And while I can't be sure how that would have made them feel, it's certainly a really interesting thought exercise. And MacGregor's choice to include this image of those objects has helped me as I journey down that thought experiment. Now, if you're not in the mood to read another book, then there is a workaround in the case of Neil MacGregor's Shakespeare's Restless World. It was, much like The History of the World in 100 Objects, made into a Radio 4 series, and it is still available on their podcast app. I'm going to leave a link both to the Radio 4 site for this particular podcast, but I'll also, if I can, find the iTunes link. I hope you enjoy it, whether you choose to read it or listen to it. Do let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If this video has whetted your appetite and you think you would like to purchase any of the books that I have discussed today, do not fear. I will be leaving links in the description box to places where you can get them. I'm going to try and find both UK and US links. To clarify, this is absolutely not sponsored, it's not affiliate links, I'm not going to make any money off this, I just want to make it as easy as possible for you to buy them should you want to. A Additionally, if you do make a purchase, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Or come and find me over on my social media. I'll be leaving the links in the description box. You can follow me there and we can continue the conversation. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so that YouTube tells you when I've next uploaded. I hope you're going to have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I look forward to speaking to you all in my next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.